Alright, here we go. Make sure my sound is on. It is on. Alright, welcome. This is Lucky 13 of the top 20 patterns for beginners included in the Hareline Dubbin fly tying material kit. It's been a lot of fun working our way through this. Yeah, we recently got a kit and a book out to each of my participants in the Project Healing Waters program local to me. And we are making this a video series to match the book, which matches the kit, which is in the hands of some awesome veterans. So check these all out in the playlist that this is all getting stashed away in. So anyways, this is going to be number 13, the Bead Head Bunny Leech. Let's see, what do we need here? We need that number 6, size 6 streamer hook. Once more, we'll be using a bead head, which is a 3/16 gold Cyclops bead. We need our black Veevus thread, 6/0. For our tail, we're going to be using a black rabbit Zonker strip. Body will include a crosscut rabbit strip and a little bit of flash, a little bit of pearl crystal flash. How about that? So let's go ahead and slide on over to the bench and we'll tie a couple of these up. So you're probably asking yourself, what's the difference between a crosscut and a regular Zonker strip, if you will. So a regular strip, also known as a Zonker strip, is cut along, imagine if you will, the head up here and the tail of the rabbit back here, and all the hair is going lengthwise, whereas a crosscut comes off the strip to the side. So this is almost like a spiral cut, right? So this would go around like that, or actually it'd be a big long sheet of them and they would cut lengthwise. So anyways, that's the difference between a regular Zonker strip and a crosscut. So let's go ahead and get our vise back in position. Alright, first things first, we have to get our Cyclops, gold Cyclops bead in there. And this is a 3/16. I'll do our little showing of the bags real quick. This is our streamer hook, size 6 from the kit pack, and the 3/16 gold Cyclops bead. Alright, we're going to go ahead and just use our vise, handy little third hand, and we want to put our bead on small hole first, that way we can have the larger opening will be towards the back end. So we'll go ahead and slide that around and secure that hook in the vise. For our tying thread, again, we are using the 6/0 black Veevus. And we're going to go ahead and start our thread right behind the bead. Everything's going to happen this side of that bead. Let's go ahead and start wrapping our thread towards the rear. We're going to lay a little thread base. And I'm not worried about locking that bead down per se right now, because we're going to get enough material jammed behind that to keep it from sliding back when it's all said and done with. So let's go ahead and advance our thread all the way to the rear. Find that tip of that hook. Get right to that bend. Alright, so we want our regular Zonker strip, and one of the things we like to do is we like to go to the tail end and I'm just going to cut this at a slight taper right to the tip. And when we're cutting our rabbit hide strips, or any strips like this, you want to make sure you cut just the hide, don't cut the hair. Let's go ahead and measure this out, 1 hook's length, just about like that. And what we can do is, let's see, what do they got in the book? They got us just trimming it up and off. So let's go ahead and cut off a little section, about a hook's length. And again, I'm cutting just the hide, not the fur. Just like so. We'll just set that off to the side. Alright, so we're up front. This is how we're going to tie it in. But I want to take a little bit of that fuzz, a little bit of that rabbit hide, and I'm just going to strip that off. Give us a little bit closer to the hide as we tie it in. So set that on top. I just set my thumb on the back end. We'll take one soft wrap to capture that, and a couple more locking wraps, and make sure that stays on top. I'm going to wrap forward a little bit. We have about an 1/8 inch worth of hide that we tied in there to there. Alright, we got that tail sticking off the back, looking good. Alright, now we're going to tie in our cross cut. And we need to pay attention. This is the bottom side. So depending on which end you tie it in is going to determine which way you're going to do your wraps. So I'm going to trim off a little bit of this end at an angle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie it bottom side up, fuzzy side away. Give myself a little notch to tie in on. There we have it. A couple locking wraps at the rear. And the reason why we did that notch, or that V at the end, is that's going to help us get a nice little taper down. Alright, we'll continue our thread wraps forward. Park our thread just directly behind the eye of that hook. Alright, we're going to palmer our rabbit hair forward, and just like we did with that mylar in the previous fly and that bucktail streamer, the reason why we tied it the side we want out, just tie it upside down so when it turns, this will line up just how we want it. Alright, we're going to take nice, tight, slightly overlapping wraps because the hair is coming off of just the back end. When we're working around the tip of that hook, just go ahead and get those hairs to fold back. Here we go, slightly overlapping wraps. With the cross cut. This is coming out nice and fuzzy. Nice and tight. Give it a nice tight pinch. Roll it on that shank of that hook. We want it nice and taut in there. Let's get right behind that bead head. We'll tie off our material. We'll do a couple of locking wraps on the back side. A couple of wraps right in front. Right, let's trim this off nice and close. Remember, we're just cutting the hide. We're not trying to cut that hair at all. That might take a couple of chops. Alright, pinch down on that on your thumb a little bit, and then we'll secure that end of that cross-cut strip just a little bit better. Make sure we're right behind that bead. Oh, look at that. That is going to give some wonderful action in the water. Alright, so now we're going to grab some Krystal flash. One fun little trick we can do for our Krystal flash is what we can do is we can actually keep it in the bag. Watch this. This is what we're going to do. Brand new bag of Krystal flash. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come in. I'm going to cut a small corner off my bag. So now when I want Krystal flash, instead of pulling it out of the bag and possibly getting it messed up, I've come in with the corner or the hook of my whip finish tool, and I can carefully pull out just a strand or two, what I'm looking for. So I'm going to go with, what does the book say? It says 2 to 3, so we're going to go with 1, 2, 3 strands. 3 strands of Krystal flash, and then you just give it a nice close trim close to that corner of that bag. Alright, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my lift and lower. I'm going to lift it all the way up and around, lift my thread, lower it down. I'm going to pull it onto the near side of the hook, lay that Krystal flash out. So I've got about the hook's length, about 50-50 on this. Now I can take a couple more locking wraps, take the other half of the Krystal flash, fold it over to the other side as I wrap on top of it, and we'll pull it back so we got Krystal flash on both sides. No additional cutting required. It's there. It's awesome. Check the length on it, and it looks like it comes out just about right. We want it to be like about the full length of the fly. It's maybe just a little bit longer. Alright, clean this up right behind the bead head. And that's going to be our bead head bunny leech. Let's finish this off with the whip finish. And we'll do another round. Nice close trim on the bottom. Oh, that's beautiful. Alright, let's add a little drop of head cement. Again, we're using that included Loon Outdoors water-based head cement. This is a pretty big collar on this, so what we can do is just add a drop right on top. We'll let that soak in there, and all will be well. So that is our bead head bunny leech. What do you think? I think that's fantastic. Just add water. That's what I say. Alright, let's go ahead and set this off to the side. And we'll tie another one. What do you say? Again, for our hooks, we are using our size 6 streamer. Let's go ahead and let our vise hang on to that for a minute while we grab our 3/16 gold Cyclops bead. We put it on the tip of the hook. We want to put it on small hole first. Let that lead the way. So when it spins around, it'll be right up tight to the eye of the hook. How about that? Alright, up next, let's grab our tying thread, our 6/0 black Veevus. Start our thread in the right behind that bead head. Nothing gets tied in front of that bead head, so never mind that at all. Alright, we'll trim off our tag end of our thread, and we'll lay a thread base from the front to the rear. And you want relatively close, if not touching wraps of thread. It's okay if it spaces out just a little bit, but we want a nice thread base in there for our rabbit strip to adhere to. Alright, again we're going to take our regular Zonker strip, so that means the hair is going lengthwise. And right at the base, I like to do a little notch. And again, we're cutting the hide, not the fur. We don't want to end up with a big square cut end. Let's go ahead and measure this out. 1 hook's length. Right about there. And same thing, cutting the hide, not the hair. Just work my scissors right underneath there so I don't trap any of it. And we'll give it a nice clean cut. Alright, on the top side, I'm going to go in about 1/8 inch. And just strip some of that fuzz off. Tie that in on the back end. I start off with it leaning towards me on the near side of the hook, and then after that first kind of locking wrap, it rolls up and sits on top of the hook. That's what we're looking for. So locking wraps in the back end. Mind that tip of that hook. Boy, that's looking pretty fantastic. Alright, up next we'll take our crosscut. I'm going to do a slight taper, and then I'm going to trim just a little bit of the hair off. That way I get right nice and tight in there. Alright, I'm tied it in with hair facing away from me, bottom side out. Nice tight locking wraps. We'll advance our thread forward. We'll give this a little taper. Our first little bump is going to be there, but what do you do? Advance our thread forward one last time, and we'll park our thread directly behind that bead head. Alright, we're going to take our crosscut strip, same direction as our thread wraps. We're going to take nice, tight, slightly overlapping wraps. We don't want to trap the hair. If you really wanted to make this bulletproof, you could add some super glue underneath your wraps before you wrap your crosscut forward. It's kind of the bulletproof. Nice and tight, nice and tight. Go ahead and pinch down on that shank of the hook and kind of roll that strip around if it needs to. Alright, we're right behind our bead. I'm going to take one last wrap. Nice and tight up into there. Alright, carefully secure that off. Try not to trap as much hair as possible. A few wraps behind, a few wraps in front. We'll trim off our excess. That might be enough for a small fly later on. Alright, use your thumb, push down on that little bump. That'll help lock that all down. Alright, now on to our Krystal flash. And remember what we did here is we went to the corner of the bag, right? And now we can take out exactly how many strands we're looking for. And I'm going to go for 1, 2, 3. There's 1, 2, you don't want to just pull your flash out of that zip tie, because as you pull flash out of that zip tie, you end up with less material in there, and the zip tie will lose its grip. Alright, so here we go. Let's go ahead and do our lift and lower of our 3 strands right behind that bead head. Right at that halfway point, we can pull it all the way around to the near side of the hook. We have that flash going full length all the way back. Alright, we'll take a couple of locking wraps. And then let's fold the pieces that are facing forward. As we wrap, we can fold them back to the far side of the hook. And we'll just secure those in place. So these are on the near side, and these are on the far side. A little bit of Krystal flash, a little extra sparkle in there. Alright, we'll finish this off with our whip finish. 1, 2, 3, around that bead. And we'll do that once more. Excellent. Turn that off nice and close. Look at that. Fluff it all out. When that's going to get in the water, you want to give it a little bit of action. Give it a slight strip in the water, and then you want to pause. And that, when it undulates, that whole bit of rabbit crosscut is just going to kind of flourish and flutter. Alright, a little bit of insurance policy. Let's take that loon-based head cement, or Loon Outdoors water-based head cement. I don't think they're making it out of loons. That'd be kind of weird. We'll just set that in there, let that soak up. Even that out. And that is going to be a beautiful thing. So there you have it. That is the Beadhead Bunny Leech. Questions, comments, concerns? Please feel free to leave those in the comments. Alright, let's go ahead and switch over. So there you have it. The Bunny Leech. A very effective bass pattern. I guess, in theory, allegedly, you can catch trout on it too, supposedly, but I've never thrown a leech for a trout. But I know I've caught some good smallmouth bass on this, so let's see what's up next. I'm just discovering this as we go. So we're going to size it down quite a bit. We're going to go from our size 6 streamer hook. We're going to drop it down to our size 14 dry fly. We're going to be tying the Comparadun. Nice little effective dry fly pattern. So that's going to be it for this one. Stay tuned for the Comparadun, which will be coming up next pretty soon. So thank you all for watching. Stay healthy, stay safe, happy tying, and yeah, sure you betcha. Tight lines. Peace.